Warning, the following program contains adult language, adult themes, and spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, and welcome to this week's episode of This Week's Episode. I'm your host, Angie Fernot. With me, as always, is digital doorman Kris Randazzo.
You know, I think this Greg Daniels fellow might have a future in television.
5-star customer service rep Karen Randazzo.
Look up your own damn porn.
And our favorite suit full of fingers, Evan Goldstein.
It's only weird if you make it weird.
And it's better when it's wet. This episode is number 262 for the month of March. This month was my pick. I chose Upload Season 1, Episode 2, 5 stars. But before we get into that, this is your reminder that you can get in touch with us at mail@geekade.com. You can also talk to us on our Discord server. You can check us out on Patreon, do the stuff and the things, communicate with us, tell us what to watch. I don't like making choices. Also, tell us what you're watching. I love seeing stuff in the Discord. It makes me very happy, and every now and then I do feel the need to chime in, and it's nice. So, thank you. But yeah, tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us your deep dark secrets. You know, just talk to us. So, how are we doing, folks?
Yay!
Cool. Yeah.
My job is trying to kill me, but other than that, I'm fine.
High five!
Wait,
me too!
Isn't that what jobs are for? I don't understand this. What do you mean?
In this capitalist society, yes, I believe that is what it's for.
Obviously. Totes obvi.
You
Okay.
totally forgot to read the fine print, and you signed the contract anyway. They are out to get us all. It sucks.
No regrets.
Oh, plenty of regrets.
I gotta say, I've actually been out of my job for the last, one of my jobs, I should say, for a couple days now this week, and I missed it today. I'm going back in tomorrow, and I was actually also supposed to have off tomorrow, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna go see all my coworkers, and it's a very weird feeling to go from being like, I don't know if I like this job, to being like, I miss you, I want to come back. So, kind of excited.
Well, la-de-freaking-da,
Yeah.
Somebody likes their job.
Yeah, suck it, nerds.
Well, isn't life just great for you? I'm just kidding. I love my job too. So
I feel like every now and then I need to bring in a hint of optimism on this podcast. I can't imagine why.
You're married to me. That's why.
Shh.
Oh, sorry.
Secrets.
Gotcha. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay.
that's a secret.
Listen,
Shit.
I'm very
Oops.
as an internet celebrity, because that's what I am. I got to make myself look available
That's
for
it.
all the
Yeah.
fans.
Okay, so funny.
How is this leading into something?
We went to a bar. It's not a bar. It's a
Brewery.
brewery today because Angela's next can
I got some cans.
from New Anthem came out. So we get, samples and whatnot. So we went in there and we're standing at the bar. We're talking to some of the wait staff and one of the back room people. And all of a sudden this guy comes out of the back room, looks Angela dead in the face and goes, "Hey, Fernot, I know you."
That was so weird.
And I'm off to the side. I'm like, "Hey, Fernot, that's weird." She goes, "Hi, have we met?" He goes, No, only through Instagram." And then he looks me in the face and he goes, "I know you too, from her Instagram." I'm like, this is really weird.
It was so weird. It was
I'm
like
uncomfortable right now.
It's like when I've listened to podcasts where people actually listen to their podcast and then someone's like, I got recognized today. And I'm like, yeah, what's that like? And then today, that happened to me. And I was like, this is really fucking weird. And I never want this to happen again.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I was so uncomfortable. And then it was that weird thing where it's like, wait, am I supposed supposed to know you? Have I met you somewhere and forgotten all about you because you weren't memorable? Were you memorable? I don't know what's happening. So much pressure.
The fact that he called you A for naught as opposed to Angela, I was like, I'm guessing that there is no relationship here other than a digital one of some sort.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't know. The internet's full of weirdos. No offense, internet, but you're all weird, including me.
Luckily enough for us, he was a very nice guy.
He was.
Worked at the brewery, and he's very, I don't know. He said very nice things about all of the artwork and the artists that work with the brewery. So
yeah, it was really.
It was a nice experience. It was just it was weird.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's kind of
I've been recognized before at like conventions and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's weird,
right?
Because like especially like when it's podcasting stuff because. They
Ain't
know
no
a lot
faces.
about you because, they do a lot about me because I talk about like everything on the podcast. It's like this is a strange situation because you know a lot about me and I don't know shit about you.
Welcome to let's not forget the first time I met you both because I was a fan of this show before I was ever on it, and then we all went to a Weird Al concert together, and then Karen was like, "Oh yeah, I love that Broadway show." Blah blah. I was like, "Yeah, I know." And then remember that time you talked about this BBC show on the podcast, and I was like, "No, you wouldn't." And why am I still talking? So
good times. Good times.
I was a fan of you guys before I ever met you in person, and that's not weird at all.
Well, I mean, it's slightly different being that, like, you're connected to Evan and eventually just became one of our people. And
that's true, but as a genuine fan listening to you guys, I was like, oh my God, I really hope they like me because I want to be their friend. So,
and now you're one of us.
One of us.
I hope it was worth it.
And the
it wasn't.
The shine is off the apple.
It's rotten to the core, and I like it. Anyway, so how's stuff on your end, guys? Tell me a story. We haven't spoken. It's been a whole friggin' month.
I mean, we talk to Kris every week.
We do,
That's
but
true.
I mean, yeah, but
and
still.
I've been listening
Karen,
to a
you
bunch of
talk.
SAG, so.
I mean, you talk to me all the time, honey. Do you really think that's a good idea?
That's a good point.
It's, same shit, different day over here. The day job is trying to kill me, and I'm trying to get away from it, and we'll see which happens first.
Okay.
Yeah, best of luck, really. Wish all the hopes and dreams. What is that? Well wishes. My hearts and prayers and all that stuff goes out for you because trust me, I understand it. I really, really do.
Mm-hmm. How are the kids doing? How's is that a safe question?
Oh, wait. I have to say this on this television podcast. I am so proud of both of you.
Yeah, dude. Happy parenting and
for
congratulations.
What you did with withholding information from your children for so long.
Oh, the Star Wars thing?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
That was a very, very important to me.
You guys are fucking heroes.
I mean, parenting win. And the fact that
for anybody listening who doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, it was I've been theorizing on what I would do as far as like showing my kids Star Wars like since high school, like what am I going to do? Like how am I going to show them Star Wars? What's the right way to do it? And the one thing that was always really important to me was making sure that, at least I could have, no matter what, see what their experience is with the whole, Vader, Luke, I'm your father thing. And so many children's books and like cartoons and everything just spoil the crap out of that. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't understand why that, like, I get that there's easy jokes to be made there, but like, shouldn't the point of any of this stuff be to like have it be enjoyable by new generations? And like, it's everything just completely spoils that. It just has absolutely no regard for that being some sort of secret. So it was very important to me to find whatever way I could to make sure that secret didn't get out. Fortunately, our kids seemed to have a decent amount of respect for us. So when John was 6 and he saw the movies, I made sure to instill in him how important it was to never tell his sister that secret. Like, when she's old enough, she'll see the movie, and then she'll find out. So until then, nobody gets to know this. You got it? That's our secret. And he kept that secret. Nobody spoiled it for Ellie. And then, she's seen various Star Wars things over the years, but I was waiting until she was old enough to get it. It was important to me that it wasn't just like sit her down in front of the movie and, hope for the best. I wanted to wait until she was old enough and that she was, understanding the whole concept of following a plot line before I went and dropped that particular bomb.
Made her follow a plot line.
Yeah, so she's 6 now, and she's been doing a lot of really good stuff as far as like following plots for things. She's been reading chapter books and whatnot, and we're reading Matilda right now.
Awesome.
We read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe last year. So I figured she was there. We also recently watched our first MCU movie. Sort of we watched Spider-Man No Way Home once a while back just because we figured it would be fun for the kids. They had seen the Tobey Maguire first and second Spider-Man movies a while back. So, but we watched Captain America as their quote unquote intro to the MCU, and it went way better than we expected.
Nice.
So that was kind of my ticket. All right, then this year is going to be the year that we finally end the Star Wars moratorium, and I rewatched for my movie pick one week the original Star Wars New Hope, and then when it came my turn again, we finally watched Empire Strikes Back, and boy, it was everything I hoped it would be. She had a bunch of questions there early in the movie, and she was kind of being a goofball, which is, it's a 50-50 shot with her. You never know what watching a movie with Ellie's going to be like. But we told her when that scene was coming up, all right, this is important stuff right here, okay? Pay attention to the words they're saying, because sometimes she just gets into this mode of just paying attention with what's happening on the screen instead of listening to the words that the characters are saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so we told her, listen to the words. And she's sitting on the couch, sucking her thumb. And when he said, no, I am your father. Because I had a little thing with her beforehand about all right, just recapping what we saw in the movie a few weeks ago. And the whole thing about how Anakin Skywalker was Luke's dad, and Darth Vader, according to Obi-Wan, betrayed and murdered him, and all that, just got all that in her head. And he said, he told me enough. You killed him. No, I'm your father. And the thumb slowly comes out of her mouth, and she looks at me like, is that true? Oh, it was freaking magic. It was so cool. She was completely caught off guard by it. And she hasn't been, itching for, she's not asking me a ton of Star Wars questions, which is fine. Her first question after the movie was, when are we going to see more of Ahsoka?
Hell yeah.
Nice.
We showed them the the Clone Wars animated movie a while back. I think it was sometime last year, just because I was in the mood to watch Star Wars with them, and I didn't think they were ready she was ready for Empire. So we did that, and she thought Ahsoka was cool. And also we've played with lightsabers a lot, and she knows Ahsoka from playing lightsabers with me. Because she was looking for a girl character to be, and I was like, well, that's if you're going to be a girl character with a lightsaber, that's the one.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, good times were had by all. It's going to be it's going to be a couple of weeks before it's my pick again, so we've got a little time.
She's going to love the Ewoks.
I think she's going to really like Jedi, and I think she's going to really like the new ones too, the new trilogy, the sequel trilogy, because they're.
Because it's got a girl protagonist.
They're a lot more modern. They're very visually appealing movies. And she's such a visual person as far as when watching movies and stuff goes. I think she's going to get a lot out of the sequel trilogy. So I'm excited to get there.
So
and it's just nice to not have to keep that secret anymore.
Do you think that your kids are actually Star Wars fans, or at least John is, or do you feel like right now you're just kind of sharing stuff with them and they watch it and it's cool, but they
are casual Star Wars fans.
Okay.
They're not like me. They're not super interested in the lore, but they're happy when it's on.
Mhm.
Like I'll watch Star Wars around them. Like I'll just be folding laundry and be like, all right, I'm going to throw Star Wars on in the background, and they will sit and watch it. And like they remember all the stories that we read as kids, their little 5-minute Star Wars books and stuff. They remember all that stuff, and they think it's cool, but they're not think it's cool to the extent of actively seeking it out. But that's because I don't know if it's because, but I've also been very sparing with what I've shown them so far. Like, you know, they thought episode 1 was really cool because as a little kid, sure, episode 1's cool. You don't have to, there's not much to it other than like the pod race, the Darth Maul lightsabers. Like they both think Darth Maul is really cool and the double-bladed lightsaber's cool and all that jazz. But like actually following the story doesn't start to get cool until, you know, Empire really.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of there. So we'll see where it goes, but I'm not holding them to it. It's like I'm sharing stuff that I like with them, and it seems to be going pretty well.
Okay.
That is
They also
great.
seem to be very interested, just to tie it back to TV a little bit. They seem to have some interest in The Mandalorian because they want to see Baby Yoda and they think Baby Yoda is cute.
No.
Yes, we
Yeah, we'll
watched
figure it out.
actually a little bit of Mandalorian a while back. It was during a day when I was doing some chores. I think I was folding a bunch of laundry or something. I was doing a bunch of work in the living room, and it was like I just decided to turn on The Mandalorian, and they were both kind of captivated by it. Like not so much that it was like, oh yeah, we're definitely watching this now. It was just like a casual interest, and they've shown interest in watching it again.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. I'm in this weird crossroads because we've still got a bunch of DuckTales left,
Woohoo.
and DuckTales is going great. They love that show. So it's really just a matter of like, all right, well, where do I go after DuckTales? Because this isn't going to be around forever. You know, there is a finite amount of DuckTales content. So do I go to? I know they both like that current Ninja Turtles, not the current Ninja Turtles cartoon, the 2012 show. Like I know that's a
That
hit
show's great.
with them if I want it to be. And then there's also I thought about Voltron a bunch, and of course there's like more Star Wars stuff. I could just really double down on Star Wars this year, and that could be really fun. Do I do like Clone Wars? Obviously, is like an option, but it's not the best. See, Clone Wars, I would have to curate the hell out of because
Right.
so much of that would bore the crap out of him because that show's insane. There's a bajillion episodes, and like half of it is just nonsense. And but you know, the other half of it's cool stuff. So I mean, maybe if I could figure out a much further curated list than what I currently have, which is already pretty thoroughly curated, to maybe just like knock it down to most of the Jedi stuff and just a little bit of the clones. Maybe that could be fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I just wondered what it's like as a parent trying to introduce them to stuff that you're into and then gauge their reactions. And I think we've talked about this on here a little bit before, but it's just really fascinating when you're like, yeah, like the kids are learning this secret about this thing in Star Wars, or like, you know, you're taking the time to introduce them to your favorites, and it's like, I don't know, I guess I get a little apprehensive sometimes when you're doing it because I'm like, what if they don't like it?
I mean, yeah, we've been down that road. Doctor Who still has not stuck with them
So
yet,
sorry,
but I
Karen.
think we're getting close to that, to be perfectly honest.
I'm trying not to get my hopes up, y'all.
I know you have mentioned in the past that like you feel as though you're going to be the parent who introduces more television to them when they're older versus Kris having a little bit more accessibility when they're younger, I think.
Because I'm a fucking child.
I mean, I didn't say it.
I did. It's
you
true.
You like what you like. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
I was John's age when I started watching Doctor Who.
Okay.
So
he's on
I
the
think
precipice of
it's
introduction.
entirely possible that we could get some Doctor Who out of them maybe this year.
Okay. Oh, Karen, I'll be waiting. That's very, very cool. Okay, well, speaking of stuff that we like to watch, who wants to go first talking about what they've been watching?
I think we should
I'll go first.
before you dive into yours, I think we should all just make an announcement that everybody needs, due to the fact we're not talking about it, according to what Kris said, everybody needs to watch Letterkenny. That's it. Just a grand statement. Make it happen, people.
If you're not watching,
Yeah, Sean Doyle's been
Letterkenny-
telling me to watch it for ages. We finally started it. It's certainly not what I thought it was. I don't know why I thought this was an animated show, like Big Mouth or something, and it's definitely not that.
It's funny you say that though, Kris, because when I first heard about the show, I thought the same thing, and I don't know why.
It's funny, is when I first saw it, I thought they were a band. Like, I thought the image that I saw, I thought it was like an album cover for a country western band. So.
Well, yeah, because Evan saw me. So for anyone who doesn't know, I had done a piece recently as a commission. It was like a fan art piece where a person asked me to insert him and his friends into the imagery of them sitting at the farm stand. And it looks like a band photo.
I'm like, Letterkenny, what the hell is this? Whatever. And then you requested, and I think we are just finishing up season 3 now.
Yep.
Nice.
So good. So funny.
Yeah, I'd like to. I wanted to talk about this week, but I've only seen 3 episodes, and I feel like I haven't seen quite enough to really have a conversation about it. So
It's okay,
I'm
we'll
gonna
get
hold
there.
out.
We'll get you there, I promise.
Yes.
But go ahead.
This is
I
our
apologize for
personal
interrupting. Go on.
Stealing
All
the
right,
show.
I'm gonna go first just because what I'm gonna talk about I don't really like all that much. So I figured I'd get it out of the way.
And you're just to continue the Star Wars train.
Exactly. We're already, me prattling on about Star Wars, so I might as well continue. I've been watching this season of The Bad Batch, and I wasn't super enthused about this show last season either, but it wound up being pretty much okay by the end of the season. And I
The
gotta
glorious
say,
review.
this season is not. It does not have my toes curling. It's these characters just aren't interesting enough to carry a TV show. They're certainly bringing some interesting, they're trying some interesting stuff. They're bringing up some interesting theoretical plot lines, or at least ideas, but they're not following up on any of them. They keep doing these things where they introduce like a concept of like, oh, well, we're introducing, this is how the Empire went from clones to stormtroopers, and this is what happened to all those clones afterwards. Like, people fought for their rights in the Senate because they're living beings, and there was an argument of whether or not they deserved to have basic human rights because they are products. And like, that's an interesting conversation. And then it just freaking stops, and they go on a treasure hunt for some
What?
damn reason. It's like,
There you go.
all right, I get it. It's a kid's show, but also like, you keep introducing this interesting stuff and then just stopping. Like, the whole season wrapped up last season, and I was like, all right, I will definitely watch a season 2. I mean, obviously I would anyway because I'm a Star Wars whore, but I'll watch a season 2 of this because I'm interested to see what happens. The whole thing with the Bad Batch is that they're a group of clones that all had these like specific genetic mutations. Like, they were messing around with the clones, their whole thing, and these guys came out with these specific enhancements, and like, all right, this dude's really good at hunting, this dude's really good at technology, and et cetera, and was like, all right, this is a cute little backdoor pilot. I don't know if these characters are worth a TV series, but in Dave Filoni I trust. And one of them was this sniper named Crosshair, and the whole thing with last season was that Crosshair believed that, he's very much a soldier, and he believed that Order 66, that's what they said to do. So that was the right thing to do. That if that's what he was told to do, good soldiers follow orders. And the rest of the Bad Batch, because they were these genetic mutations, they didn't experience Order 66. The whole chip thing in their head just didn't freaking work.
Gee,
So they were
Kris,
like-
what was Order 66?
Oh, sorry. Order 66 was when in the third movie, episode 3, they were like, it's basically they implanted this thing in the clones' heads that was like, as soon as they were told to execute Order 66, they were to turn on and murder all the Jedi. And that's how the Empire took over. That was like, all right, the clones betrayed all the Jedi. The Jedi didn't see it coming, and they killed most of them. And so that's how they got away with that. Was the clones surprise attacking all the Jedi and murdering just about all of them. There's like a small handful of Jedi that didn't, that survived. And it was a thing that was a chip that was implanted in their heads. Because like the clones, the whole thing with the clones was that they were to team up with the Jedi to work together on battle situations. And they were supposed to be partners. So they implanted a chip that would just override their free will and be like, kill the Jedi. And they'd be like, okay. And a lot of clones now in the Bad Batch are looking back on that like, I don't know, man, that doesn't seem right. They were our friends, right? This doesn't make any sense. But clones don't have very long lives, typically speaking. So it seems like a problem that would eventually solve itself. But anyway, they had this whole rift with Crosshair, and that turned out to be like the big thing last season, where they kind of wound up, sort of seeing eye to eye for a little bit, and then they both went their separate ways, and Crosshair went back to the Empire, and the rest of the guys, went off to do their, freelance bounty hunting thing or whatever they're doing. And it was threatening to be interesting, and then like they have barely touched on Crosshair this season at all, and then they introduced some other shit where they're like, they were out on I forget what planet they were on, but they were being targeted by an assassin. Was it Captain Rex, who's a clone who's still working with the Empire, but he was a really cool dude all throughout the Clone Wars cartoon. They were targeted by an assassin, and that assassin turned out to be a clone, but he was like a new clone, and they shouldn't have any new clones because they basically blew up the planet that the clones were from. So it was this really crazy cool mystery, and then they didn't talk about it for 2 more episodes. What are you doing here? You just introduced this cool stuff, and then we're right back to a bunch of stuff I don't care about.
Out of curiosity, when they change from like, oh, this is what's happening to we're not talking about it, what are they doing in that time, in that 2 episodes where they don't talk about it?
It's a lot of like one-off stuff. Like they got stranded on a planet, someone stole their ship, and now they got to find their ship, and they got stuck in a cave with a bunch of water, and it's just like, monster of the week type things, just
without any reference.
Filler episodes.
Got it.
And filler episodes always have their place. I don't mind filler episodes. I'm not anti-filler episodes in a general sense. Just we're, I think, like halfway through the season, and I'm waiting for something to happen that I genuinely care about. And most of what we've seen so far is the Bad Batch dealing with their silly adventures in treasure hunting and things like that, and they're with some woman on a planet that gives them missions, who owns a bar, and she's very much a just a caricature of that kind of character. And I don't care about her, and I don't care about her partner, who was played by Wanda Sykes. Like, this character showed up for a week and it's like,
wow, that's a very unique voice to be choosing.
Yeah. And she's like this roguish treasure hunter lady, and they all went out on some treasure hunting mission, and she was like, was she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Who knows? I don't care. Like, I don't care what happens to any of these characters. The most interesting character of the main cast is this little girl named Omega, whose whole thing was that she's a right. So they're all the clones are clones of Jango Fett and Boba Fett's dad, right? That's the whole deal. They're all clones of the same dude. He was the template for all the clones for the clone army. And then in the beginning of the Bad Batch, they wind up meeting on Kamino, the planet that the clones are from, a little girl named Omega, and turned out that she was an experimental female clone. She's, the same DNA as all the rest of the clones, except she's a girl, which is completely unique. And why does this kid exist?
That is really cool.
Yeah, that's a neat plot line. Never got a resolution to it. They haven't even mentioned that shit this year.
What?
She's just with him.
There.
She's there, and she's an interesting enough character, I guess, but she's just there. They haven't touched on like who she is, why she is, or anything. I mean, most of the Kaminoans or the people who made her are dead, because that was the other big thing at the end of the last season was the Empire ordered them to the remaining clones to blow up Kamino, like their home planet, and then they had this whole thing where they blamed it on like severe weather or something. It was just this whole like completely see-through cover up, but you know, it's clones, so nobody cares. And they keep touching on this interesting, you know, the politics of whether or not these characters can be considered living beings, and then they just don't do anything with it. And I get it's a kids show, but you're going to introduce these topics, follow through, man. They didn't shy away from this stuff in the Clone Wars, but it does seem to be falling into the same trap as the Clone Wars, where it's just going to be like, we're just going to do a bunch of bullshit for a while. We're just, we could tell stories, but we're not gonna. We're going to tell these little one-off things, and there's more than enough Star Wars out there that like I'm not here for anything that doesn't seem to be building to some sort of purpose with interesting characters. They don't have to be direct ties to legacy characters. Like, it just has to be leading towards something interesting and have interesting enough characters to begin with. And the fact that the whole Bad Batch are just these character archetypes, like they're just archetypes. Like, one's a nerdy dude, one's a big, strong, stupid dude, one's like the silent loner, one's the turncoat. Like, they are all just basic caricatures. They're not interesting enough to carry a TV series. So, I don't hate it. I'm entertained enough, but just barely.
Yeah, that's rough. Like, my brother is actually a fan of the show, or at least he was for the first season. And I remember him talking about being excited for the show coming out. And I was like, why? And he's like, Angie, I'm a Star Wars fan. Like, I like the Bad Batch. I like clones, and I like Clone Wars, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, yeah, we'll see. So now I'm going to go back and be like, well, my friend Kris watched it, and he's not that impressed. So you better tell me what's up with this show.
And my friend's a better Star Wars fan than you are.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, and he's a Star whore, okay? So up your game, little brother.
If he's enjoying it, then God bless him. That is great. I want people to enjoy it.
No, we have to tell him he's wrong, Kris.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. We're not supposed to let people enjoy things.
Right. Obviously, you're not a true Star Wars fan if you don't know that. God.
Nobody hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans.
Exactly. There it is.
That's the truth.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sorry that the season's disappointing, though, because I appreciate the fact that you will always give things a fair shot. And for you to, like, I don't know, have that kind of review about a Star Wars show, like, I remember you not being super impressed with the first season and just being like, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's okay. But like this one, it feels like you're like struggling to find something to keep going back to.
Other than the words Star and Wars in the title of it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised when I saw that season 2
right?
came out.
I can forgive a lot in the first season. You know, they're figuring out what the show is. I get that. But you're past that now, you know, that's over. You should know what you are by now. We should be leading towards, there should be a story you're trying to tell that's interesting enough for me to stick through you trying to tell it however you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just not, it's not landing with me. And it's a bummer, but it's not like I have a shortage of Star Wars stuff to pay attention to. So it's not that big a deal. It's just kind of annoying.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Well, I'm curious to see if it gets better. So, you know, as you keep going through the season, I'd like to know.
Yeah, me too. I suspect it might. I mean,
how long is the season?
It's probably never going to be. Well, that's a good question. I don't know how much longer it's going for. But like, Mandalorian's right around the corner, so I can't say I'm like,
oh, really? There you go.
Yeah, that's like really soon. So. It's like, oh no, Bad Batch isn't doing it for me. Whatever will I do?
Whatever
I'll just
shall
watch
you
The Mandalorian
do?
in like a week.
Good to know. I'm looking forward to that coming back. But all right, well, okay. Karen, what have you been watching?
Well, I made it through season 2 of Ginny and Georgia.
I know. So I didn't realize it was back yet. I knew it was coming, and I just like kind of have lost track because I don't have a Netflix subscription anymore. So please tell me what your thoughts were.
Did you watch it all?
Nope, not even one. I haven't, like, not even a trailer.
For
Nothing.
season 1 or
2.
2? Okay.
Season 2's out, honey. Get
But
on
you did watch season 1.
it. I did.
Okay.
So, for people who don't know this show, it is about this single mother. She has 2 kids, both by different fathers. And when we meet the family, they have just moved to this town in New England somewhere. And it turns out, you find out over the course of season 1 that Georgia is the mother. I get them confused because of the names.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia is running from having just murdered her ex-husband.
As you do.
As you do. She poisoned him with some plant that made it look like he had a heart attack. So it was, it was hard for anyone to tell that it wasn't natural.
Why ever would he do such a thing, Karen?
Well, because he put his hands on her daughter.
Yeah, that's right.
Her
Fucker
teenage
got
daughter,
what was
which
coming.
is
Sorry.
Ginny.
Yeah.
So the first season is all about her. Like, there's somebody connected to the guy that she killed. I think it was his first wife who, wants money in the will or something, or insurance money. She hires a detective to find out what really happened. And the whole first season is really about her trying to get away with this murder and kind of found her new life in this new town. And try and give her kids some stability in this new place. And at the end of the first season, both her kids, or just, both her kids,
they run away,
find out what she did, and run away. So they don't run away, they run away to the older daughter's father, who lives not that far away. So beginning of season 2, we start with the two main characters not really getting along, and I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I hated the show, it was just the whole thing that makes this show great is the chemistry between the mother and the daughter, and they're mad at each other, or at least the daughter is mad at the mom, and the mom is not acting like an adult in the situation.
Shocking.
Right. So, but it eventually resolved itself. From there, the detective who was investigating the murder of the most recent ex-husband, he's still around because he finds out that wasn't the only time that she murdered one of her husbands.
Oopsie.
Oopsie.
Yes, oopsie.
Oopsie.
The thing I thought was really interesting going along. You guys are laughing about her murdering all her husbands, but
I'm laughing
It's
at the
mostly
thing I
Evan.
thought was interesting. Not the murdering multiple. That wasn't the thing that was interesting. The murdering multiple husbands. I gotta hear this.
I think it was the reason for murdering multiple husbands, because as you go along and watch it and find out what happened in her life that caused her to be in all these situations, she's like a kind of a, textbook example of everything that possibly could go wrong for a woman in this country, in bad situations, bad decisions, just a lot of bad.
Mhm.
Everything that could go wrong for her did. She came from a bad home, so she left when she was a teenager. She just keeps trying to do the right thing, and it keeps blowing up in her face. The parents the parents of the father of her first kid are they try to offer her stability, but she has to give up some freedom with her daughter, and she doesn't want to do that. She'd rather keep her kids than anything else, so she doesn't accept that, and that's why it doesn't work out with the first dad. And then she ends up being on her own and having to do all these questionable things because men are shitty. So, but she's always trying to do the right thing, but she tries to do the right thing and it doesn't work out, and then she has to do the wrong thing, and that actually ends up working out for her.
And the wrong thing is murder.
This season they brought in an Ashmore. I believe it's Aaron. Might be Sean. I don't know which one. But it was the same one that was in Lock and Key.
Okay.
That doesn't help. Does that help?
Aaron, I think it's, hold on.
I want to say Sean. I want to say it was Iceman.
Then I'm going to go with Aaron. That would be...
Hang on, I'm looking it
Judy.
up. It is Aaron Ashmore.
Okay.
He was
she
in
knows.
Lock and Key. Hold on. I'm looking to see if he is also the same one.
From...
Aaron Ashmore, Ginny and Georgia. It would appear that it was Ashmore.
Both of them.
No, it was
Twist!
Fred Ashmore.
Evidently,
the
it was
difference between
Aaron
them anyway,
Ashmore
so-
for all of this. He is everywhere.
Okay.
Aaron is all things.
Yeah, I thought it was the same guy from Lock and Key because as I'm watching it, he plays the father to the younger kid, to George's younger kid, who all we know about him is that, quote, he is in jail. And that the son, the little kid, was writing letters to his dad, but the mom never, like, sent them to him in jail. They find that out in season 1, and they're all upset at her for that. So he makes a reappearance without giving too much spoilery info. And he's not a good guy, and that was really, like, interesting for me to watch, having come off of seeing him in Lock and Key and be like, Uncle Duncan, and, like an ally to the kids.
Yeah, not
And
anymore.
then this was like total 360 of that. They had another episode where they did a really good job of portraying one of Ginny's, like, there's a whole, like, teen drama element to the show too, because they show Ginny and her friends and all their issues mixed in with all this, like, murder and intrigue stuff. So there was a really great episode where Ginny's boyfriend has depression, and they did a great job with, like, the way it was shot, the way it was lit, the way they kind of, like, just left out certain events and, like, only focused on certain things to, like, really make the viewer experience what depression feels like. And then they went back the next episode and kind of, like, rewound and showed you all the other stuff that was happening in everyone else's lives while this kid was, like, just completely out of it.
That's kind
So
of cool.
that was a really interesting device. So yeah, I would say overall, go ahead and watch the second season. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of interesting stuff going on.
So it sounds like you have, like, a level of sympathy for, or at least appreciation for, Georgia.
I mean, yeah, when you sit back and, like, obviously murdering people is not good.
Episode title. Nailed it.
But, like, when you see everything that she went through in your life, you understand how she got there, you know?
It's acceptable murder.
Kind of, what else did you want her to do?
So, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, and this is part of the thing that I'd have to, like, either skim through the first season again, but I remembered, and I think I texted you a few times while I was watching it, because I remembered watching the show and being like, I don't really like her most of the time that I'm watching her, and I didn't, even when I would see the situations that she came from, I would feel like there were a lot of instances where, like, she could have made a better choice, but she didn't, because, like you said, she came from a specific background and maybe she just wasn't equipped with, like, those tools in her mind to make other choices. And now she's really trying to change her life, but she's still doing it through means of manipulation and lying, right? So she's, like, continuously done that. And I know it's all to protect her children, but there's a part of that, like, I think sometimes I recognize behaviors that I've seen in my own life, so I'm a little bit more critical of them and a little bit less forgiving of this fictional character. But it was just interesting because, like, even now listening to you talk about it, like, I just remember, like, I didn't really like her. Like, there were a lot of things I had a problem with, and I had a lot of issues with the way that she parented her children, or her lack of parenting. And then you learn...
there are some more really bad parenting things that happen. in the season.
Yeah, and but the thing was, what I remembered liking about the show was that to me it felt like they did a good job of being like, yeah, this is a woman who doesn't always make good choices. In fact, she often makes terrible choices, but she loves her children so fiercely, and they do a good job of making her flawed but still somewhat forgivable. Even if it's, I can't say I find her character super relatable, but I think to some extent, like, I feel that I can feel sorry for her as a character, and so it makes me more tolerant of her behaviors. But I haven't watched it in so long, so who knows?
I also feel like there's a level of forgiveness for me with her because, like, obviously she made a lot of terrible choices, but also she didn't have any, like, positive influences as a child. And then, like, she went out on her own and not, like, just met with nothing but bad. And she was still not, like, she was a teenager when all of this stuff was good. She's still kind of a child. Like, of course, she made bad choices, but she's Ginny's age when she's making all these bad choices. Like, didn't we all make bad choices? She made, like, worse choices than most of us made, but she was in a different situation than hopefully most of us found ourselves in our teen years.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I just remembered finding kind of neat about the show is the best way I could put it, because I definitely had a lot of moments where I struggled with being like, ugh. And, like, I would want her to get caught sometimes because I was like, you fucking lied again, you manipulative bitch. Like, I was just get so annoyed with her. But as the show went on and you did get more context, so many more of her behaviors, like you said, like, they do start to make sense. And
also there is a moment towards the end of the season where that she makes a different choice for the first time. Instead of, like, lying and manipulating. And that is leading into season 3. So that's pretty cool.
Character growth. What the hell?
Ew.
That's
gross.
Insane. I love it. Well,
and also,
cool.
It's just fun for me anytime Scott Porter is in anything, because then I flash back to Friday Night Lights and I'm like, aw, good for him. He's not paralyzed anymore.
I never watched Friday Night Lights.
It's such a comfort show for me.
My
God.
Not only did I not ever watch that show, but I don't really know much about it.
Football.
Oh, is that what it was?
Inspirational football.
Listen,
Texas. Isn't
everybody
Texas
says that, but it's
inspirational
not
football?
actually a football show. It's like, you don't have to know anything about football to watch it.
That's fair. Well, I mean, that's the way a good show should
It's
be.
about football the way Ted Lasso's about soccer.
Exactly.
Soccer is life, though, in that show, and I don't know if you're aware of
Football
that.
is life.
Yes.
We may have been rewatching Ted Lasso recently.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so worth
I
it.
finished my. Oh, that's what I should have talked about. I finished my Scrubs rewatch, and I am officially on the train of that last season is a complete fucking waste of air.
Oh, even they are. So that I listened to a podcast of Chirk and JD doing a rewatch. Okay, they are not rewatching the final season
Because, like, what I mean, I stuck up for it. It's not terrible television, you know,
It's
when
not Scrubs.
taken on its own. But Scrubs fucking ended. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole emotional ending. Like, it was over.
One of the best endings.
Yeah, it was a great ending. It was very well done. And then, like, never mind.
Oopsie. Psych your mind.
We can do one more. And no. Just
That's
no.
what happens.
But
Well-
I finished that and I was like, all right, well, Ted Lasso's coming back soon, so I'm going to go ahead and jump on the old Ted Lasso rewatch train because holy crap, that's one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
One of my Valentine's Day cards to my lovely wife was a Ted Lasso card.
It really was, though, and it was great.
Bought it a month ago.
I save all of the cards that Evan gets me, and that one might even get a frame.
Nice.
Aw.
Man.
Aw, how sweet.
The one I got for Kris at Chickens that we're singing.
I have it over on my desk. I could go get it if you want.
We're good.
You want to hear the song?
I don't.
Play it on
I
the
really
break,
don't.
honey.
We're good. Thank you.
So, honey, would you like to share what you've been watching?
Yeah. I started to watch a show called Leverage Redemption, which I don't know if you're aware of it. It's a continuation of a show called Leverage. And Leverage, I loved the show Leverage back in the day.
Evan loves Leverage. Say that 5 times fast.
It's so anyhow, I watched the first episode of this new show, and one of the main characters from the original show is gone. He dead. Now I immediately stopped watching because that means I didn't finish the original show. So I went back and I started watching the original Leverage, because now it's hitting me that one of the main character does not have plot immunity anymore, because I know he's dead, and I don't know why, and I don't know how, and he was the most I don't know, broken character of the show. It's a character named Nathan Ford, played by Timothy Hutton, and he is like, so this show is basically a heist con show. Every episode is a heist, and I love a good heist movie. So like, you know, Ocean's 11 and all of the Ocean's movies, and
I like a good ocean movie.
And like, that's like, I don't know why, I just find them really comforting. And this show has that. So, you know, when during a heist movie, you know, you're paying attention, and then at the very end, they sort of like rewind you and show you the things that you missed throughout the episode or throughout the movie. That happens in this, and they're there. Like, it's not, hey, this weird thing happened that you would never know of, and it was and it's what I liked the most about this show. The fact that there are 5 main characters: the brain, the muscle, the thief, the hacker, and the grifter, and they all work together now in a Robin Hood-esque type of manner, where they're taking down big important people to help the little guy. Every show, it has like this emotionally uplifting story, and they're just trying to do the thieves and the bad guys are trying to do right now. There's a lot of great character growth for each of the characters throughout the shows. But I mean, I've watched, I don't even know, like 3 seasons of this already, and they have a nemesis that shows up every like 5 episodes, and he's not like the big bad, because every season has a big bad that they're trying to take down, but like their nemesis is Jim Sterling, and it's played by Mark Shepard.
Crowley.
Crowley shows up every 5 episodes, and he is in essence playing Crowley, because I don't know if that's his real voice. I think it is, but if it's not,
the British accent, it really is
all the time.
That's him.
He's now like, because they're all sort of thieves and misfits, he's now part of Interpol, and he used to work for the same company that Nathan worked for, and he got a promotion when Nathan went back. Like, he is the thorn in their side, and whenever he shows up, it is so much fun. But what I'm waiting for is to find out why his character doesn't make it into the next show, and they in the next show they hold him in such reverence, like they're begrudgingly moving on because he was the only person that could do the role that he does, and so on and so forth. And like, he's an alcoholic, he has control issues, like he's a broken character, and I want to see where it goes. And it's so much fun, it is so entertaining, and I can watch pretty much any episode. There's no heavy through line. They're super, it's, you know, monster of the week kind of things, and it's so much fun. And the character Parker, who is a thief, played by Beth Riesgraf, she is, as I watch this, she's such a little weirdo, and she is so fun. And like, I look at Angela and I go, "That's you. You see that, right? You see like that, the shit that she's doing right there."
He keeps telling me that she reminds him of me, and I like, it's so funny because like I'll watch and I'll be like, "Does she though?"
Yeah, she's adorable. She's sweet, and she's a weirdo. So
she's actually, it's cool because I love that she's an art thief, and she's all She's very quirky. I'll definitely say
Very
that.
quirky.
She's very quirky.
She has this weird social awkwardness about her because she is a thief and she's like she doesn't know how to deal with feelings kind of thing. And one of the story arcs or storylines throughout multiple seasons is her getting into a relationship with the hacker, who's played by Aldous Hodge, who played Hawkman in Black Adam. He's a very quippy, smart and funny dude. So watching their relationship blossom over X amount of seasons has been a lot of fun. It's just a very entertaining show for me, and it's something that takes my mind off of all the rest, like the heavy stuff. Like every once in a while we'll sit down to watch something and I'm like, we still have yet to start watching The Last of Us because I know how heavy that show is. I've played the game. I know it's heavy. I want to watch it. I just don't have the emotional bandwidth to watch it now.
Can't do it. No, sir.
I just watched a movie that was like that, and I was like, oh, okay. I need something else after this because that was a lot.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It was Emily the Criminal on Netflix with Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec.
Ooh,
Okay.
Nice.
Fantastic movie, but like,
What did we watch the other
such
day?
a bummer.
Yeah. Our movie night last night or the night before was taken up by Magic Mike extra large. So
XLBB.
you know,
It was great. It was a treasure.
yeah, there's a lot of story back there. You got to get caught up because the third one's coming out.
Okay, for the record, they actually do have good story in the first one. The second one was a little more flat on storytelling, and that's okay because it was what it was. But the
It's
first one
heavier on
really did
dancing.
have a compelling story. I will not let anyone tell me otherwise.
Which led me down the path that my lovely wife goes, hey, do we have the Step Up movies? I'm like, shit, no, we don't.
Okay,
But
so
we
wait.
will.
Fun fact about
Dance
this.
movies.
Yes, I will never apologize for that. But also, the reason why I became so enamored with the idea of watching one of the Step Up movies is not only because Channing Tatum is adorable and he can fucking move, but also because of the fact that we watched The Rookie, as y'all know, and his now, unfortunately, ex-wife is on that show, and she's one of the best characters on the show. So upon this discovery, I was like, well, shit, I need to watch them fall in love on camera because they met and fell in love on the set of Step Up. And that is freaking adorable.
And now they're divorced.
But now they're divorced, so that makes me sad. Yeah. I mean, if they're happier as a divorced people,
I'm okay with it because currently she is in a relationship with Nathan Fillion, and I'm all right with that. It may be a fake one on television.
No, it's a television relationship.
But she is now.
Oh my god.
God, and The Rookie. That's a great show too. So much fun.
Anywho,
Isn't she like way too young for him though?
I don't know. I just haven't seen that way.
Okay,
Wait,
I don't have a lot of familiarity with her.
she is too young
I
for
think
who?
I think she's age appropriate.
For Nathan
Okay.
Fillion?
For Fillion.
For Fillion.
Yeah, pretty sure she's the same. She's
I mean,
within appropriate age range. Hold on, now I
Okay.
gotta Google this.
her name is Jenna
I
Dewan.
must be crazy.
No, listen. You must not be. I'm gonna find out. Let's do this. I had the cast.
All I know is every time I see Channing Tatum act, I'm like, damn, he is a charming and relatively good actor. Like he had this. There was this line about it was a girl sitting on a counter eating red velvet cake, and she's like, "You want some?" He's like, "No, I'm not a cake guy. I'm a cookie guy." And she goes, "What?" He goes, "Yeah. I would polish off a pound of Oreos before touching a bite of that garbage." And I was like, "That's real. Like he's real. Like the way he presented that information, that was truth."
It seemed believable.
They have a
and-
9-year age difference. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
She's older than I thought she was.
Yeah.
So wait,
Okay.
she is 9 years younger than Nathan Fillion.
Yes, she's
Yes.
42.
Okay.
She is. She
she's
looks
my
damn
age.
good. Yeah, it's kind of upsetting, actually.
But they're this TV relationships. But how old is Channing Tatum? Oh, he's in his 40s too. So they were age appropriate.
well,
remember
what's to say? Who's to say somebody's not age appropriate 9 years apart? Cradle robber.
That's true. I just kept saying it over and over again until you realized that we are 9 years apart.
Oh, that's why I
Anywho,
was
hon,
not
what are you
bothered.
watching again?
Oh, gee. Hey, thanks.
Again.
Oh, we're going to go with that? Okay. So, for those of you who don't want to hear me talk about Supernatural, too bad.
So our week started with, for some weird reason, I got this notification on my phone that there was this job opening up in Canada to be a tour guide through all of the hot spots of supernatural filming.
But the job listing, what did it say, honey?
I don't know.
You had to be a what? Supernatural.
Oh, you're fanatic.
Yes.
And I'm sitting in the office. I look, I go, let me go bring this to my lovely wife's attention. And I showed her, and like, she vibrated with excitement.
I was immediately like, wait, can I apply for this job in Canada?
We almost moved to Canada for her to have a
Jesus Christ,
15-hour
please
a
don't
week
move
job.
to Vancouver. You're far enough away as it is.
I know.
It's just actually it would probably be closer in Vancouver.
No, Vancouver. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so I was going to talk about, and if anyone wants to, if anyone who listens to this watches the show Servant, I'd be curious to know, because that's what I was going to possibly talk about. But it's a really dark show. And I got back into Supernatural because A, why wouldn't I? But B, because after our last recording, when I was like shitting all over the Winchesters, I felt like I should maybe go a little easier on this production and give Supernatural another watch, so I could really go into that show with fresh eyes, but like also a more relevant perspective of the Supernatural universe, because I hadn't watched the show since the 15th season had ended, and I hadn't done a rewatch of the show in years. So
are you actually doing a full rewatch?
I'm doing a full rewatch. I'm on season 3 right now because I've just been playing it. I've had off for a few days from my main job, so I've been working my other job, which is my freelance stuff. And while I'm working freelance, because it's Supernatural, and I played it literally every day through 3 years of art school on repeat, I just I can put that show on in the background, and it genuinely doesn't disrupt my work. So I've kind of just been re-going through the seasons, and one of the things that I've realized is I remember being really critical when I was talking about the Winchesters, of the fact that John and Mary were able to handle a demon, because when the Winchesters initially encountered demons, it was the demon on the plane, and then the first demon they ever encountered after that, outside of a brief touch with Yellow Eyes, was really Meg. And I could tell they were still kind of finding their stride. I still love the fact that the very first time they talk about encountering a demon, they're say the word Christos, and they're forced to react. And that's the only episode they ever use it in. And it's just I want a t-shirt that says Christos.
That was so funny. It was coughing it under his breath.
Yes. It was so good. And they're she's what? Excuse, what? And oh my God, it was just so good. But just going through, I'm on season 3, episode 3 right now. And, I remember by the time I got to season 8 or 9, whenever they'd get into a fight and then have a mini boy band breakup, I'd be yo, guys, get the fuck over yourselves. Seriously. By season 11, I was really just adamantly over it. But for the beginning of the series, at least in these first 3 seasons, it hasn't quite been like that yet. They really just had the orchard episode where they kind of get into a fight, and then Sam's with Meg, and Dean ends up almost getting murdered by the skin-stealing scarecrow.
As you do.
Right? But yeah, it's so nice to just be back in this universe that I love, with all these really fun things, and the number of really good episodes that occur in just the first 2 seasons. I forgot how strong they were. But what it also did is it reminded me of how good their pilot was, because their pilot, I mean, a lot of the really good one-liners, driver picks the music, passenger shuts his K-hole, the bitch and jerk thing, just no chick flick moments, a lot of that was the first episode, and it was just really amazing and entertaining to see that even in the first episode the show seemed to have its stride, and it had a voice. I did not feel like it had any pilot syndrome stuff. It really just captivated me. And even as a fan, going back, where I thought maybe I'd be a little more critical and be like, you know, like, oh, here's this dumb behavior that Dean has, or here's this like whiny bitchy thing that Sam does, or whatever. Like, it didn't do that. And it really just, I just thought it was great. I really thought they did a good job of taking you and just putting you in the middle of this universe and being like, yeah, okay, I can accept this is the circumstances and rules by which they play. Like, sure. And the way that I will say one thing I think is really funny is like Sam's, I guess it's technically like Jared Padalecki's like slight overacting at times, but there are just so many
At times.
there's so many episodes in the beginning where he's like, tell me about that moment. And like just his little like eyebrow quiver and his like, I'm really here for you, perfect stranger. And they're like, yes, let me tell you everything. Like, it's just so funny the way that he would like try to show his empathy. And like, you know, there were a couple times where I would be in the middle of my work and I'd look up at the screen just to roll my eyes at Sam. And I'm like, oh, God. It's so funny, but like it works for this character, and eventually, you know, he gets better. One thing I also have noticed is that he is way better at being a villain than he is at being a good guy.
Interesting.
Any time that he starts to take on a role where he's like tapping into his quote unquote dark side, it's weird how well he seems to do with that role. Like, it's easier for him. It's just, I don't know, like, especially because I've watched some of the behind the scenes stuff. Like, you've even seen the blooper reels, hun, where you'll see, you know, Jared will just start laughing and he'll be like, God, this line is terrible. Like, this is such bad acting. And he'll like call himself out and then everybody has a laugh. But what I've noticed is like, there are times where I'm like, I bet it took him a few takes to do this scene. And when he does the scenes where he's like in character as an evil or like dark person and taking on that like angrier, more serious role, the way his whole like demeanor changes, I really do feel like sometimes he just slipped into that more easily. And I think maybe it's because he doesn't have to have as much depth. He gets to just kind of turn off in a way.
Makes sense.
I don't know. And it's just something that I thought was really neat, but I do like how well when he does it, he really shifts into that change. But yeah, like I've been paying a lot of attention to just the way that their characters evolve over the first two seasons, and how, you know, Dean's character is often noted as being the character who carries the weight of the world on his shoulders. You know, he was raised with this whole like, take care of your brother, be a good little soldier mentality. But it really feels like in the first like at least 5 episodes that he loves being a hunter and he's really proud of what he does. And as he faces the reality of the fact that like his brother, he's like completely upset his brother's life, and you know, they're having all this trouble finding their dad. And then when you go into season 2 and like they've lost their dad, like that weight really weighs heavy on him. And I just think it's interesting how quickly it changes in that first season, because it seems as though like up till that moment, he's been living his life where he kind of shirked that feeling of responsibility in favor of the freedom of just being sort of a delinquent. So I don't know, like it's really fun to kind of watch the characters grow up from the perspective that I have now, and knowing where it goes, and knowing that I haven't watched it from the beginning in a while. And just seeing the range that Jensen Ackles has as an actor is really cool. And getting to revisit Bobby. Oh, Bobby. He dropped his first idjit in one of the recent episodes, and I was like, yeah, Bobby, you're here to stay. Except for when he dies eventually. But he's in for, I mean, if you think about how long characters would last in this show, he is one of the longer surviving characters.
Longer than most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm laughing as you're talking about Jared Padalecki's acting because I've been rewatching Gilmore Girls.
Oof. Oof.
Oh boy.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And it's funny, like I can't remember back in the day whether I was more of a Dean girl or a Jess girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was more of a Jess girl because they have better chemistry. But rewatching it in my 40s, I'm like, they're teenage boys. They're both idiots.
Yep.
They're both being the worst right now.
Absolutely.
And yet,
the
every
worst.
time, like, somebody's about to kiss somebody else, I'm like,
Right? Oh, yeah, of course. Because we
it
thrive.
doesn't matter. I get the butterflies anyway.
I want the romance, and I want it now.
But anyway, yes, Jared Padalecki's acting is an interesting topic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, and it's like so hard because I don't want to be like that critical of someone who I'm still a fan of. But, there's just moments where I'm like, my guy, take a breath.
Think about what you're doing. Okay, let's
Connect
go.
with the scene.
But I mean, I'm never going to be a person who acts or fully understands acting. So, but yeah, I'm just really happy to like be back in this show and in the stage where I really truly loved it. And I just hope going into the Winchesters, like, spoiler alert for anyone who's not aware, also they're bringing in characters from later seasons into the Winchesters, and I'm not sure how I feel about it right now. So, but I'm excited
I
at
thought
the
we
same
decided
time.
at the end of the last episode that we weren't going to watch the Winchesters, and
We
nobody
got news.
should.
Like, it was a news article, and we're like, shit.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to the show. I'm genuinely thinking that I want to do a rewatch of all 15 seasons of Supernatural, even if I do get to a point where I skip through parts of some of the seasons later, because after the 5th season, there was a lot of stuff I didn't like for like the next 5 seasons. I didn't like the Leviathan arc. I didn't like a lot of the stuff with Sam coming back from hell with no soul. I didn't like the stuff coming after Purgatory, like, except for Benny, he was great. Yeah, so there's like a lot of stuff that I didn't like. I'm curious to see how I'm going to receive all of that now. But I genuinely do want to do this and then like go watch the Winchesters and see if I feel better about it with like all of this stuff fresh in my head as a fan, or if I'm going to go into it and be even more critical because they can't even fucking get somebody's eyes right. But, eyes don't matter. But that's it. So I'm back on the Supernatural train. I feel like I'm probably going to check in on this every time we record as I continue to go through it and kind of give a brief download of my feelings. Karen, please let me know if you want me to occasionally just give you my info dump on Messenger.
I mean,
Get
you
your
are
fix.
more than welcome to do that. The other day when you sent me whatever it was about that episode, Heart, I was like, I don't know what she's talking about, and I'm in the middle of something, so I can't go look it up right now.
Okay, so just to do that really quickly. So for anyone who's a Joss Whedon fan who or a used to be Joss Whedon fan before he got canceled but loved Buffy, whatever, I watched the episode recently where they found their first werewolf like on the show. At least it's not the first time they've like what's the canonically, I guess, whatever, like in their history. It's not the first time they've hunted a werewolf, but it's the first time we see them hunt one on the show. And as they're looking for the werewolf, they find out that it's this woman that they think is being stalked by the werewolf character. And it turns out that not only are they wrong about that, but she is the werewolf and she doesn't know it. And of course, Sam has like this crazy chemistry with her and they end up sleeping together and like,
as you do.
Right. And, but not until after they think they've cured her, but Sam has to stay and wait to make sure she doesn't turn, of course. And Dean is like seeing the chemistry and it's really funny because he kind of just like sees it and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go be somewhere else now. And it's just, it's really great. Like, and she's a really interesting character. Like she did it for the one episode she's in. Like, I was like, damn, I wish this character could come back. Like I enjoyed her. But basically the end result of this episode is they realize that she's not cured when they tried to do the thing to cure her, and they ultimately kill her. And Sam is the one who ends up pulling the trigger because she asks him to be the one to do it. And as per fucking usual, they zoom in on Jensen Ackles' face instead of Sam's or Jared's when filming the scene where you hear the gunshot go off, because you watch like Dean's heart essentially just crumble into tiny little pieces and melt into a sad puddle of single man tears, because he knows that he just let his brother do something horrible, and he feels so sad for his brother. And like, you see all of this empathy on his face, and it's like a 15-second, like, I'm like, how did you just take the whole episode and once again bring it back to, oh my God, you're just the most interesting part of this show, and like, this episode wasn't even fucking about you. Like, how did you just do that? It's brilliant. But I had an argument against the choice that they made on the show, because after having watched Buffy, and again, I haven't watched that in years, but I remember they had freaking Seth Green's character, Oz. He was a werewolf, and they would just put him in a cage every month during the full moon and be like, all right, bro, I'll babysit you. See you in the morning. And yeah, it didn't always go great. But like, for I'd say it was like 95% effective, almost as good as condoms. Like, it was working. And in this case, like, they just were like, she's like, well, I can't take that chance. And then, Sam and Dean were like, yeah, I think Dean specifically is the one who's like, yeah, like, you can put yourself in a cage, you can try and tie yourself up, you can do whatever you want to do, but eventually there's a chance you're going to get out, and you will get out. And on that night, like, someone else is going to die because of you. And like, he just puts it so, yeah, like, he's very cold about it, and he's detached from her the whole time. There's even another episode where there's a ghost that they're trying to like release or banish or whatever. And when they find this ghost, they realize she doesn't know she's dead. And Dean's like so dismissive and like, yeah, whatever, like, I don't care, what's dead should stay dead, and monsters are monsters. And like, it's just this really weird, like, line that he'll draw in the sand, and then every now and then he kicks the line.
I mean, by dying and or becoming a monster?
No, like, well, yes,
sorry,
that's later. But even in the first two seasons, like, there was the episode with the vampires that I call them the vegan vampires, because they don't eat people blood, they eat animal blood, but I mean, it's still blood, it's not vegan at all. But it's just like, this whole like thing about that. Speaking of, it's really funny because the vampire in that episode, who is like the leader of that group, is actually Tara from Buffy, who was at one point Willow's girlfriend. But anyway, so like, this whole werewolf solution was like, hey, we're gonna have to kill you now. And to me, I was just like, I think that especially once they have the Men of Letters bunker, had they been in that situation, they might have been able to do something different, knowing as well the whole thing with like Garth later on down the line, even though he's an alpha and he had control over his like wolfish instincts. And this is like way down the rabbit hole. Garth idiots. Oh man, that's skinny little punk.
That's kind of the thing, though, is that early in the season, they would have made a different choice further down the road, but that they made the decision that they made at the place that they were at.
And that's what I love. But yes, and like, that's the thing where I was like, I think based on Joss Whedon logic, they could have made a different decision, and then it would have worked out better for them in the future as well with this one person. But also at the same time, like, exactly that's one of the things that I think is like both wonderful and frustrating when you're a fan who knows what's coming for these characters, because you're like, man, if you just had the knowledge that you're going to have,
if you knew what you'll know 5 seasons from now.
Yes. And I just like, I think that that's really cool. I don't know, but maybe they would still make the same choices, and I'd be so curious. And then they have, of course, like the Jin episode where Dean gets his like one wish granted and his mom's alive, and like, there's just so many really good moments in those first 2 seasons. And I'm floored by like how well it's done. I really am. I am all warm and fuzzy about this show all over again, just being in those first 2 seasons. So really well done. I love this show. I really do. But that's it. So let's take a break so I can stop gushing about a show no one else cares about.
Not true.
We'll be back shortly. If there are any other Supernatural fans out there, though, I would love to know like your top 5 favorite episodes. I think in 15 seasons, 5 is like a decent number, because it's really easy for me to get to that. But yeah, I would love to hear top 5 Supernatural episodes for fans out there. So as I'm going through the seasons, I can like take special note of them and acknowledge those of you who are out there. But yeah,
I can try to come up with 5, but the musical is
narrow it
definitely
down
on
to
there.
5.
Oh yeah. Yeah, trying to narrow it down to 5, but yeah, the musical episode for fucking sure, Karen, absolutely.
I tend to like the gimmicky episodes. They're not like whatever the best episodes, but like fan fiction.
Yes.
The one where Dean is scared of everything.
Where he's scared
That
of
one's
everything.
hilarious.
The one where they go into quote unquote an alternate reality, and it's actually this reality, like it's the real world, and they're their actual selves. They are Jared and Jensen.
Acting.
Yeah.
And the trickster episodes are always good.
Oh, wait,
Like the one where they're in the TV.
He just made his first appearance. He was in season. I didn't realize how early on that happened, because I don't think when they brought him on initially that they intended for him to be Gabriel, and he just was so great. But he got away in that episode. So I knew that they intended to bring him back as a recurring character. I don't, there's things that I think about and I'm like, how fucking far in advance did you plan this out? Like, how much did you know when you were writing this, writers? How much did you know?
They play chess, not checkers.
Oh my God. But yeah, okay. So yeah, Supernatural fans out there who listen to this, please share with me your top 5, and make sure Scooby-Doo is on that list. That's all. Okay. All right. We're taking a break. We'll be back.
Hi everyone, Kris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, in an all-new episode of Sparkcast, how would you like to learn all about a simple story from a 16-page sticker book? Me. What can be told, colored, and stickered in that amount of space? Sean's most hated Autobots, Gears and Huffer, show up with dialogue. Wait, let me do that again. With gasp dialogue. It's the worst Transformers in a story about the mystery of the stolen oil. Plus, the team tries to find out if one Autobot is Optimus Prime, despite the fact that he left already. Is it a clone? A mix of Gears and Optimus due to having to learn so many characters? What does all that mean? I don't know. Find out in Sparkcast, episode 72, Sticker Book, Revenge of the Decepticons.
Next, Go Power Rangers.
No, do it better.
Next, Go Power Rangers. I love the Power Rangers. You love the Power Rangers, especially when they're both mighty and morphin. And since everyone loves these color-coded heroes, it should come as no surprise that there were a number of video games based on the property. In fact, there were not 1, not 2, but 3 whole Power Rangers games on the SNES alone. And the fine folks at the SNES podcast covered all 3 in one episode. A truly superhuman feat. I'd even say it was worthy of the Power Rangers themselves. Don't miss all the Mighty Morphin action on the SNES podcast, episode 205, the Power Rangers trilogy.
Oh, those games were good.
Were they though?
I played them. I loved them.
Cool.
Finally, Kevin Costner is a national treasure. Who doesn't love that man and his incredible career? A master of disguise, he truly managed to disappear into all of his roles to the point of unrecognizability. If you didn't tell me that was him in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I wouldn't have believed you. A truly believable Englishman if there ever was one. He also took a turn as Elliot Ness in The Untouchables, a movie where a little girl explodes and Sean Connery eats a sausage like an apple. If you've never seen this classic, or even if you have, why not listen to Kris, Paul, and Sean discuss it in a theater near you? Episode 24, The Untouchables.
For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on Geekade.com.
Oh, I mean, with a line like that, why wouldn't you watch?
It's the only two things from that movie you put in the commercial were the little girl exploding and the sausage apple.
Did anything else happen in that movie?
Apparently
It's
not
kinda
worth
boring.
mentioning.
Nothing as important as those two things.
Little girl explodes.
And we are back. Did you miss us? I know you did. So we are talking about episode 2 of the first season of Upload. And the title of this episode... Thank you, Evan.
5 stars.
Superstar. Okay. So we're talking about 5 stars. I want to know, Kris and Karen, just for a little context, I threw you guys into this because this is where I started with the show, and that it was actually what got me hooked. Like, this episode was the one I think I still have not seen the first episode of the show, to be honest. So the premise of the show for you listeners is in 2033, humans can quote unquote upload themselves into a virtual afterlife of their choosing. When computer programmer Nathan Brown, played by the lovely and ever so charming Robbie Amell, dies prematurely, he is uploaded to the very expensive Lakeview, but then finds himself under the thumb of his possessive, still living girlfriend, Ingrid. As Nathan adjusts to the pros and cons of digital heaven, he bonds with Nora, his living customer service rep. Nora struggles with the pressures of her job, her dying father who does not want to be uploaded, and her growing feelings for Nathan while slowly coming to believe that Nathan was murdered. So, with that premise in mind, I don't know if you guys knew anything about the show going in. What were your thoughts?
I was genuinely surprised to learn that this wasn't a CW show, seeing as it starred in Amell.
True.
Yeah.
True, yes.
And, and started off and was like, not a CW show. I was like, oh, cool. No, I thought this was great. I immediately added this to our list of things to watch,
Awesome.
which is unfortunately
Very
really freaking long right now. So
Okay.
we're not going to get to this show proper for a little while. But,
Did you watch the
it's on
first
the list.
episode?
What's that?
Did you watch the first episode, or did you just jump to the second one?
We watched your recommendation. We watched
Cool.
episode 2, and
Sweet.
You
that was
still
that.
liked
But
it.
when
That's-
I go back, I want to start from the beginning.
Yeah,
I wanna
that
see
makes
what
sense.
happened.
I do feel like it was easy enough to figure out what the premise was without having seen the pilot. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, I kind of get what's going on here without having it spoon fed to me.
Yeah,
Okay. Good.
it
That's
was-
what I thought.
It was straightforward enough. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think, the only thing that you don't get you get a taste of it in this episode that you really in the first episode, pretty obvious, is the relationship between him and his girlfriend.
Blech, Ingrid.
Yeah,
Blech,
she's
blech,
not
blech,
good.
blech, blech.
But the fact that he is so charming.
Yeah,
He is grossly
He is,
charming.
and I was the Amel thing went right over my head until just now. I was like, oh, I thought this guy's nice looking, and he's he's a decent actor. Wonder who the hell he is.
Right?
He's Arrow's cousin, I think, right?
Yeah. First cousin.
Yep.
I used to think they were brothers when I was younger, and I don't know why I never just bothered to look it up like an adult.
I thought they were brothers up until we started watching the show,
Yeah.
and then we Googled
I
it.
thought they were brothers up until about 4 seconds ago.
All right. Well, that works out. But yeah, so some fun things about the show that I thought were neat. I had no idea that the creator of this, Greg Daniels, is responsible for the American version of The Office. He co-created Parks and Rec and King of the Hill. And he's known for being a good writer. He's known for creating and working on good and fun titles. And I guess I need to acknowledge that I'm a Greg Daniels fan, and I'm going to have to watch The Office because I love Parks and Rec and I love King of the Hill.
There it is.
So, and I love Upload. I really enjoy this show.
That's a weird swath of shows,
Right? I know but that's that's what I think. I don't know. That's part of what the interest is to me, and that's why I thought it was fun to mention that he's worked on all these titles. Because if anybody's hearing that name and they're like, "Well, it couldn't be the Greg Daniels I know," it could. But But yeah, so okay, outside of all that, I'd be curious to know, like, you liked it. Was there anything you guys had questions about, or was there anything in particular that that stood out to you? Because, like, one thing I really like is the way that they have built the society and the technology in this world.
I feel like, I mean, if you hadn't said that it was a 2033, I would have told you, like, this is a little further in the future. Like, it seems a little too close for this technology to be possible.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like kind of a natural evolution from where we are now to where, like, we will go with technology.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily with the concept of uploading, but like more like reviewing every single fucking experience you've ever had in your life.
Yeah.
And people's jobs, like, being dependent on a daily customer rating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my first thought was, oh god, that's horrible, and my second thought is, why aren't we doing this now? Like, this seems like something employers would do now and somehow make us try to believe that, you know, is better for us.
I mean, arguably,
they
you could say that it does. Yeah.
I mean,
every
they do.
place you
This
go
is-
to with that circle the receipt, and they do those
Did you get the
what's
credit
it,
card?
do the surveys, do the survey on the bottom of this receipt, and like that stuff matters. Like, the higher ups at companies pay so much attention to that. At least they
Mhm.
did back when I was working in retail, and I'm sure it's gotten worse since then. This is just seems like such a natural extension of where we are now.
Yeah.
Just the watching her, watching her review score drop as she does, like, you know,
in real time,
in real time, and
Ugh.
like flying through the air pretending to be a duck while he does skeet shooting, and like gives 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy was great too. The
Cigarette
cigarette
smoking man.
smoking guy.
Yes, Karen, this is why I love you.
Forever. But it was like, clearly this is one of the Koch brothers, but not.
Mm.
Yeah.
And just to have a character, represent that kind of figure who actually exists in our world, but completely just be unapologetic. Like, he's in the afterlife. What is anybody going to do to him? To be like completely explicit and unapologetic about all the horrible shit he's done. It was like, well, this is really something.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it didn't really go too deeply in this episode, but like, this is the super, super high end heaven. In later episodes, you will see other versions where, you know, like, it's just not as, I don't know, polished, if you will.
Well, that's one of the things I noticed, because he did the whole assignment where he had to like meet 5 people,
Mhm.
and I was like, all these people are terrible. This must be rich people's heaven.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, not all of them. I'm sorry. There's a character named Luke who he was the guy singing that was naked in the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
You will come to know and
Oh
love
my
him.
God, that guy is amazing. He's a military guy, and I think it was like because he was in the military, he got in.
Yeah.
But like I'm trying to think if there's anybody else redeemable in this world. Like everybody else pretty much plays the character.
The other thing I noticed about the upload world is, like, the show itself seems like pretty diverse and, you know, good representation all around. But in the upload world specifically, like, you just keep coming across white dudes, and I was like, red flag?
Yeah,
Red flag?
there's
Get me out of here.
It's for a reason, because like it's showing the grossness of wealth. There's actually like it's within this same universe. It's like the 2 gig world.
Yeah, well, it's not the 2 gig world. It's literally just a section that it exists within this Lakeview community. It's people who can't afford more data, so they're called the 2 gigs, and as soon as they use their 2 gigs of data, they just like turn off
They
until their
freeze
next month.
till the next month.
Yeah, with their next billing cycle. It's really fucking crazy. Like, it's the stuff that they think about on this. And also, bringing it to the show Black Mirror, there was an episode of that show where they had a system that was similar where everybody was rated. And it's somewhat alarming to know that this is now in existence. Like, it sometimes feels as though society is really moving in that direction where we are going to be dependent upon those ratings in real time. And I really fear that existence.
Especially since, like, customer ratings are so useless. Like, we were just talking about the other day when we went to see Ant-Man, how the Rotten Tomatoes score is like 48% or something. I was like, okay, I can't trust anything where anyone reviews, like, where real people review things anymore because they have, like, ulterior motives.
Yeah, it's like half of it's just agendas. Like, well, I don't like this. I don't like Brie Larson, so therefore Marvel bad.
Right. And like right now, like I'm just looking like, and it was weird because I came across like The Whale just released, and that's getting like public. Like, it's amazing how many people love this movie, and it's at a 65%. Like, every two are positive for every one that's negative. Like, that's reviewers have a tendency to review louder on the negative than the positive do on the positive. And
vocal minority.
That's the internet.
Yeah.
Internet negativity gets attention.
And the fact that they show in this episode him just sitting there and him just giving her the 5 stars, and she's like straight up uncomfortable. Is like, I think you're breaking the rules. Like, this can't be right. Like, why not? Someone could give you 3 stars over and over again for shooting you like a duck. Like, why is that not okay?
So I do have one question about the world.
Show.
So people are in charge of the uploads.
Yes.
Yep.
People are a finite resource, but dead people aren't.
Right.
So what happens when there are too many dead people? Like, how could there possibly eventually be enough people to be able to provide customer service for all the dead people?
That is a very valid question that this system does not touch upon because this is still relatively new.
They touch a little bit on it.
Well, so
the most recent episodes when they were running around the city?
When they were running around the city.
And he was trying to stop something from happening. Because
no,
it was
so stop talking because I feel like you're skating around and I'm not grabbing anything.
Okay. They were wearing iPads on their chests and running around a city.
Right. And I can't
remember
like what they were
out.
trying to not do. But so I feel like, so right now, in this episode, they also didn't touch upon in the world, there's a system of AI. And then within the episode, that AI gets updated so that it sort of becomes more reliant on the technology as opposed to the human aspect of it. But right now it's still a thriving community. Like, the world is still overpopulated and
it's not meant for everybody.
Right.
So this is something that, like,
this is the niche. So like the lower end communities do not have angels.
Like,
right.
And also, like, you'll notice, the cigarette smoking man is like, oh, you made something that challenged a $6 billion industry. Yeah, you were murdered.
You were definitely... I appreciated that so much.
Yeah. And that 100%, like, that's the thing that Nathan, or that this character, was working on, was creating something that was actually accessible for people who couldn't really afford to be uploaded into this fancy AI world, because it is really expensive and difficult, and it's something that, like, you can see everything there is still paid for. And then even in the real world, the customer service reps, when you see Nora talking to her friend, they're printing their food. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of disconnect in society in this world. And so as we're watching, like at first you kind of sit there and you wonder, like, is this how the entire world is now? But there is a part, I think it'll be like in an episode or two, where you'll see like Nora has like a little like thing that hangs out her window that she's trying to grow like fresh vegetables and stuff on and have like real food
that someone tried to steal.
Yeah. So there's definitely like, there are other things. The world is not completely different from what it is now.
It's a slightly more dystopian kind of situation. It's not horribly. It's very reminiscent of where you can see how he get there kind of thing. It's not way out in left field.
Yeah, like you can see how the elite, like it's very much about. I felt that they did a decent, or actually a very good job in my mind of kind of tackling like power dynamics societally, in the way that they were handling a lot of the show.
And I appreciate that the show bothers to take that on rather than like, well, we just want to tell a wacky story about like, wouldn't it be funny if in the future people could get uploaded and like, oh, this one guy was uploaded, but turns out he was murdered, and like wacky comedy ensues. Mm-hmm. But they're really like, they're not just trying to tell a simple story. They're taking on all the aspects of like, okay, what does this look like? How do we get from the real world we live in now to potentially having this world, and what like affects, how do those, how do real life conditions affect, this futuristic story that we're trying to tell.
Mm-hmm. Right. And there's two things that you like, I did not talk about it in episode 2, and I'm pretty sure they touched upon it in episode 1. Robbie's character he's in there because of his girlfriend. His girlfriend's and her family are stupidly wealthy. He could not afford to get into.
With the bees on her face.
Yes.
She sort of pressures him into uploading. Which I won't ruin the surprise with the upload, because in episode 1, it was a startling realization of what happens, and it was funny as fuck. So I'm going to let that marinate for you. But the other side of this is, as they are building this society for these people to sit in heaven, quote unquote, they're also, I can't remember, I want to say it was spam, but it wasn't spam. There was a company that was growing bodies to have people download to. So that's the other side of this thing, and that's running at the same time. So eventually the thought process is to get like, this is like a holding cell. Up until the point in time you can pay to have your essence put back into a meat shell. There's a lot of social dynamics in this that are really, really wild, and things that are just touched upon in this episode, like that little kid that died when he was 11, 7 years ago. Like, he's still 11 in this world. He hasn't grown up. So everybody other than his like close family, like his mom and his dad, like they grew up. They don't want to have anything like he's a little kid still, like, which is
being left behind.
And that's something that's, I guess you could call that a flaw in the system, that they're not letting this kid grow up, because mentally he's still learning and still experiencing things, but he's still in a little 11-year-old's body, and does Street Fighter with the AI, which I found really funny.
Yeah, and one thing that I think, like, they're kind of touching on a little bit in one of the episodes, I don't remember which one it was, like, he does want to grow up, this kid in particular, because this is something that, like, right, their consciousness, everybody's consciousness in this show, it's just it becomes data. It's just translated into zeros and ones. Mm-hmm. And what I found really interesting about that was that, like, Nathan, the main character, he still has character growth, but you kind of get the sense that, like, maybe that person was in him all along. Whereas, like, this kid, like, his brain physically did not develop beyond the point of maturity that he had achieved when he died. So, like, there's sort of this question of, like, can he actually get past that, or is that something that would have to be, like, programmed for him? And then if that is the case, like, would that be an expense on his family for him to be able to develop further? These are just like weird questions that I have that I'm curious to see where that will go, or if it will be addressed, because it might be beyond the spectrum of information they care to cover. But
I love a lot of things in this show, but one of, I feel, a missed opportunity, which I'm going to throw this out there for when you guys watch it later. AI guy, which is just like the bellhop, and like he makes repeating every time a AI character shows up, it's the same guy. And every time we're watching it, my brain shows me him. Like, it was a missed opportunity. What's Wash's real name?
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, yeah.
If Alan Tudyk was in this show would be utterly perfect.
It's a little too busy doing Resident Alien, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
And like every voice, a voice in every Disney movie.
Speaking of, did y'all happen to catch who from Resident Alien was on the show?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liv the cop.
I thought that was very fun, and it like she's just so naturally beautiful that I thought that they had to like try to like make her look frumpy. Like, they gave her these like giant oversized glasses and had to try to like frizz her hair
out.
And I was like, nah, she's still pretty. It was really cool though. I loved seeing her on the show.
Yeah, it's nice to see her do something like a little bit higher profile than sci-fi.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, like, again, she seems to be someone that I could imagine her like starting to show up in other content. I hope that she will.
And like her character, we didn't see a lot of her, but I from what we saw of her, I was like, oh, she's smart. Because like the car asked her who she was a couple times, and she didn't give any identifying information, and I was like, oh, okay, she's not out here trying to get murdered.
And I think that's like, and again, it's like one of those, like, you're gonna see like they're not necessarily taking her seriously on the show, and it's like, cool, she's the one person who's actually like really trying to get answers, and you might want to listen to her. And then it's like, nah. And I'm like, man, she goes to the same shit with the fucking sheriff.
Yeah. They sort of just like moved her character over a couple of stations.
Yeah.
Frizzed out her hair a bit.
So,
like, once again, a woman and a fat person. Let's not take this person seriously at all.
Whoa, Karen.
But I find it interesting that all these like societal and like kind of almost philosophical issues that are being brought up. Like you said, when you explained the concept of like then getting downloaded into a new body, my brain just broke for a couple of minutes, and I didn't miss the rest of what you were saying. Because I was like, oh God, there's already too many people on this planet. You can't bring some of them back. That's not good.
And again,
think about that for a second.
Like, think about who those people. It's like a modern version of eugenics, honestly.
Right.
If like, and that's one of the things about the show that I thought was fucking fascinating, because they're diving. To me, it feels like they're diving headfirst into this. This is not an easy topic to talk about as a society right now, let alone as a television show that's also trying to be like a fun, lighthearted comedy. And
I mean, it's lighthearted. I wouldn't call this, especially after this episode, a comedy. Like, this show gets pretty heavy with it's softened by the charming nature of Robbie Amell. Yeah. But it like there's some heavy, like there's a whole story arc with him and his girlfriend. Like, it becomes like a moral question. Like, what are you doing? That's not right. Is it right? Like,
yeah, when you start watching this, I really want your thoughts on Ingrid, because I'll tell you straight up right now, I don't like her.
She's the worst. She's the worst.
And
but I find it interesting that it explores all these kind of like higher concepts, and it comes from a creator who, you know, worked on The Office, much like Mike Schur, who also explored a lot of higher like philosophical ideas on The Good Place. Like, what was in the water in that writer's room?
Dude, I'm telling you. And not for nothing. I mean, I this is going to sound probably kind of stupid to some people, but I feel like King of the Hill was a really good show that had a lot of messaging that was actually really sweet and wholesome at times, and like made you stop and go, huh. I had a roommate who, for years living with her, that was what she would listen to every single night when she would fall asleep. So for literally years, I would hear at least one episode of that show every day. And I love that, like, there are people who are working on this where it feels smart. And also the fucking, can we again just talk about the tech? I want a hand phone. There, I said it.
I want a hand phone.
Did you notice that his hand phone and the girlfriend's hand phone, because she was so much, I feel like because she was so much wealthier, was like twice the size of the screen. Like,
that's really funny. I didn't notice that at all.
Yep. I want that too.
But yeah, so there's technology, and like I was looking up some stuff online before we started recording tonight, because there's like articles, like there was what was it? 6 pieces of tech we need in our lives now. Oh, Prime Video's upload can't stop predicting the future. And it says there's like, I guess there was an interview. What is this? This is from Den of Geek, where they were talking to Greg Daniels about season 2 and how it kept accidentally like mirroring reality. Yeah. And it was just kind of funny because like he says in the interview, it was about steak. Hold on. Okay. He says there was a joke in the pilot, which of course we didn't watch it, but there was a joke in the pilot that they were 3D printing steak and the fat cartridge is malfunctioning. I thought that was like a comical exaggeration of 3D printing. And then I immediately got texted that there's a company that's 3D printing steaks. Like to me, that's just absolutely absurd. And yeah, I just think that there are, like, we've talked about the things with the ratings, and we've talked about there's so much more that will come. It's like, it's kind of hard to like share it all.
I'm looking at the IMDb and I don't know why this is a spoiler, but I didn't realize this. When Nathan, Robbie Amell, first encounters David Choke, William B. Davis, outside his room, he remarks that he looks familiar. Amell appeared in season 10 and 11 of The X-Files as Agent Kid Miller, which, like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That
fucking
rings funny.
A bell.
Well, that's why I made the cigarette, outside of the fact
he's
that
always
that's why
the
we
cigarettes.
recognize him.
I didn't know Amell was in.
Oh, I thought
X-Files.
I told you that. I looked
No.
something up about him at one point, and when I learned that, I was like, oh, fuck, he was on X-Files too? Okay. But yeah, there's more to that than what we're saying, so you guys have to watch more. But yeah, I'm really glad you liked it. I hope that it'll, come up soon in your list of stuff that you get to watch, because it's so good.
Very entertaining.
We
Goes
will get
fast.
to it. We started a few things. There's a cavalcade of shows happening.
About to premiere.
Mandalorian's right around the corner. Ted Lasso's coming back.
Party Down.
Party Down.
Ooh.
And Picard just started back up. Yeah. I think there might actually be a few episodes left of the current season of Law and Order.
Shit. Okay.
I thought we had the season finale, and then I looked on IMDb. It looked like there were a few more, but I could be wrong. But whatever, man. That's what I should have talked about. That's what I should have talked about instead of Star Wars. This season of Law and Order was fucking great.
Well, you'll have to save
got their
it.
shit together. Yeah, I'll have to save it for next time.
Got their shit together. That's it. Pretty much summed it up. Good.
Get it together and save it.
Figure it out.
Well, while you're getting it together and saving it, would you like to give us the social media spiel?
I would love to.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, my phone turned off. This week's episode is not filmed before a live studio audience, but it is fueled by feedback from listeners like you, and you can get in touch with us in a multitude of ways. We have an official Geekade Discord where there's an entire This Week's Episode channel dedicated to all things TV talk. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram through the official Geekade channels or the more specific Twepcast accounts, and of course, 4 of us can be found in various ways. I'm available on Twitter at Geekade Kris, that's Geekade Kris, and you can read my work at StoneAgeGamer.com and in the pages of Nintendo Force magazine. Karen, where can people find you?
I am at STM Stitches on Facebook, Instagram, Etsy, and TikTok.
Angie, where can people find you?
That's a great question. I guess just go to my website. That's fine. It's angelafernot.com.
And why should I care? Sorry, that's
Wow.
a Bluey reference
Wow.
for all you parents out there.
Wow.
And Evan, where can people find you?
Check me and all the stuff out that we do at talesofcapefear.com. I got a big thing coming up soon, so please.
It's a Kickstarter. Spoilers.
I'm going to do a Kickstarter for the next issue, so please check us out.
We need so much support. Please, for the love of God, somebody support us.
Well, if you need to know more about how to support these guys and the other shows that we discussed tonight or what we'll be watching in the future, have a look at our show notes. And if you have any other questions at all, we can always be reached at mail@geekade.com. Just include the words "this week's episode" in the subject line so we know who you're trying to reach. This show is available anywhere fine podcasts are sold, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. And wherever you decide to listen, please comment, subscribe, and leave reviews because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. Again, as always, keep your eyes on Geekade for more fresh original content. Back to you, Angie.
Oh, so fresh. Thank you, Kris.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Did we determine, Evan, I think you pick next?
Yes,
Evan is next. Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
my darling, my love, my husband, my life. What are we watching?
So, I haven't watched this show yet, but I really, really want to. So I'm going to force us all to watch it. We are going to watch Poker Face, season 1,
yay.
episode 1, starring Natasha Leone. Is that how it's pronounced?
I believe so.
I
Natasha
really like
Leone?
her, and
Oh.
I've been wanting to watch this for a minute. So I'm really
That is
jazzed.
currently Ferg's favorite show
Awesome.
on TV right now. He was mentioned in the Discord that we should watch it, and it is definitely on the list.
All right,
So that's
season
awesome.
1,
Hooray.
episode 1, Dead Man's Hand.
If
Right.
that's if they don't have the Lady Gaga song as the theme song, I'm gonna riot.
Flip tables.
Listen, everyone needs a little more rah-rah in their life, okay? All right. Cool. So I guess that's it. Y'all do your homework. We'll do ours. And from all of us here at this week's episode, I'm Angie.
I'm Evan.
I'm Karen.
I'm dead. Upload me.
Good night.
And this concludes our broadcast day.